The reason That 70s Show is one of my all-time favorite shows is because of the characters. In a lot of shows with an ensemble cast, some characters are regulated to stereotypes or catchphrases, and they're used just for laughs.
Bazinga. 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 Bazinga.
All the characters in That 70s Show are well-rounded and each three-dimensional, and make you want to root for them at times, and other times make you hate their guts and want them to fail. This goes back to my previous point, but the breakup scenes that the show includes are some of the best and most emotional I've ever seen on comedy TV. In a lot of sitcoms at the time, breakups would be played for laughs. That 70s Show did it differently, and most of their breakup scenes were completely free of laughter. The characters in the show grew up from the beginning to the end of the series. Eric Foreman goes from a weak, shy teenager to a man who is willing to stand up to people. Most importantly, his father, Red.
His mom is really scared, and she could really use a little damn support right now. And I don't usually tell you what to do, because you usually do the right thing. But this time, you didn't. You know how you're always telling me to be a man? Well, be a man!
Stephen Hyde goes from a probable high school dropout to a man who owns a record store and who knows who he is as a person.
Leo, you're in a record store.
Whoa, that was fast. So what are you doing here?
I'm the boss, man.
Michael Kelso goes from a dim-witted, immature pretty boy to a man who might still not be the brightest, but does everything he can to care for the people he loves, especially his daughter, Betsy.
All right, Brooke, your mom and I thought that maybe since I'm going to be at police academy, that you might want to have the baby in Chicago. You know, just so you have your mom there, just for now.
Oh my God, Michael. Thank you so much.
I'll come visit, and it'll be great.
Foreign exchange student Fez goes from a creepy, insecure foreign exchange student who had no luck with women to a confident, yet sometimes still creepy, person who has more luck in relationships and actually ended up with the girl he was infatuated with since the beginning. I really don't like this plot choice, but it still showed character growth on both sides.
I thought that tonight it would be romantic if I rewrite some of that history. Look! Oh crap, it was dark.
Jackie Burkhart goes from a spoiled, ditzy teenage girl to a strong, independent woman who works for what she wants.
This really shouldn't be this hard.
Look, I just wanted everybody to know how much I love you. I always have.
Donna Pinciotti was always ambitious, but didn't feel like she could express what she wanted because of her parents. Donna came out of her shell as a person during the show. She was always a go-getter and knew she wanted more than the small-town life that all her friends were just fine with. The entire series shows Donna trying to do things to give herself the life she thinks she wants, but then ultimately figures out that only Eric will make her happy.
Happy New Year.
Eric.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I caught the last flight out. So, awkward. How are you?
I'm good. I start college next week.
Oh. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When I left, I was so positive that I was doing the right thing. I'm sorry.
The most important thing about a comedy series is if it's funny, and That 70s Show is really funny.
Guys, I gotta tell you something. I'm omnipotent.
Kelso, I want you to know that I feel bad for you. And that I am sorry. You are not a man!
Get a job? It's just party all night, dance all day, and sex everywhere in between.
Since the main characters in the show are in high school, some of the humor is going to be sophomoric, but the way the show handles that humor is what makes the show so funny. Most 2000s comedy shows have a very formulaic way of telling jokes and getting laughs. That 70s show takes sophomoric humor and elevates it to a different level, and goes beyond just guys laughing at sex and fart jokes. Sexual jokes and sex in general are big parts of the show, because of who the main characters are and because of the time period the show is set. The 70s was right in the middle of the sexual revolution, and the transition from one generation to the other is shown, and that is used as a source of humor.
Let me put it this way. The buffer wouldn't buff.
Poor Mr. Cooper.
No, Fez. I think what he's trying to say is the rabbit wouldn't come out of the hat.
The weasel wouldn't pop.
The alphabet soup never spelled go.
Okay, all right, enough!
Actually, not quite. There were a lot of Amish people, but they never raised a barn.
Foreman, man, that was awesome.
It just came to me.
One of the signature gags of that 70s show, from the pilot into the series finale, was the circle. The circle was used to showcase what has become a vital sign of the 1970s, smoking weed. The circle was clever because it was a way to show that the gang partook in smoking weed, but it was never explicitly shown. According to the show's creators, they did not want to set a bad example for impressionable viewers, so a joint or blunt was never actually shown in the circle, and they never refer to it as pot or weed by name. They usually just say their stash. Red at sometimes does refer to it as dope, weed, and other things. In the circle, the gang discussed relationships, which were supposed to be off limits, TV shows, food, mostly Fez, and conspiracy theories, mostly Hyde.
There is no gas shortage, man. It's all fake. The oil companies control everything. Like, there's this guy who invented this car that runs on water, man. It's got a fiberglass air-cooled engine and it runs on water.
So it is a boat.
No, it's a car. Only you put water in the gas tank instead of gas. And it runs on water, man!
The circle started out as just something that Eric, Hyde, Kelso, and Fez were a part of, but as the series went on, other characters partook in it, including Donna, Jackie, everyone's favorite stoner Leo.
God is dead, man. Said so in Time magazine.
No, man. I sat next to God once on the bus. He told me the meaning of life, and then he gave me a pretzel.
So what's the meaning of life, man?
Yeah. I guess I should have written it down. But it was a good pretzel, man.
And even the Foreman and Pinciotti parents, though theirs was not by choice.
You know, I'm glad the plant is closing. It frees me up to do my own thing.
You said, do my own thing.
I'm sorry, what?
Hippity hoppity, Easter's on its way.
The circle was a perfect place for the gang to talk about things in a very uninhibited way, and was a way for them to say outlandish things while keeping the show grounded. The circle was and is very popular, and is still remembered as one of the best parts of the show and one of its main sources of humor. That 70s show is one of my all-time favorite TV shows, and even though it has been off the air for close to 15 years as of the recording of this, Netflix was instrumental in the show finding a new audience and keeping it as popular as ever. The show currently isn't on any streaming services after Netflix declined renewing the rights last year. This is odd because of how popular the show continues to be, and so now the only way to watch the show is to buy the complete series DVDs, which I recommend, or to catch it in syndication on one of the numerous channels that airs it. The show will always remain special to me as it was one of the shows I grew up watching and honestly only getting half the jokes at the time. It has remained a big part of my life and was and still is one of my comfort shows that I can turn on no matter what is going on. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you are a fan of That 70s Show, please leave a comment and tell me what your favorite part of the show is. This has been Let's Talk About Pop Culture. I've been Charles. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.